Welcome to Eminova Partners Day. In this video, we will go through the equity story of Obducat with the CEO, Patrik Lundström. Hey, Patrik, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Let's start from the very beginning for those viewers who don't know Obducat. What is the company about? What is your business consist of?
Well, Obducat is a company that is involved in something called nanolithography. And lithography is something that is being used in semiconductor to create the patterns that you see some conductors and so on the chip. So that is the processes that do make that, let's say, pattern creation possible. So that's lithography. And Obducat have three different type of tools or machines that we sell to these type of semiconductor manufacturers. The one type is called nanoimprint lithography. Another one is a resist processing system, and then we also have something called wet chemical processing. So let's say that these are used in various steps within the lithography process, and these machines are sold to a large extent to very large companies such as Infineon, ST Microelectronics, and 26 Incorporated, which is the world's largest player in the optics and photonics field. But beyond the fact that we produce these machines, we also produce services in terms of we use our own technology to customers who are smaller or that doesn't work with or setting up their own type of manufacturing facility. So fabless strategy it's called, when you don't build your own factory. Those customers who have interest and the benefit of using Obducat's technology, those are also interested in acquiring services where we utilize our technology to add value to their products. So we create patterns on their products, we send it back to them. So it's like a foundry service, it's called the terminology in our world, but it's a production service where we basically are a OEM manufacturer for some of the process steps to realize their products.
So let's dig a little bit deeper. If we think of the market environment and the different trends that are affecting the demand for your products and services, what are the main drivers and things happening in your broader market?
Well, if we talk about the larger mega trends that's sort of ongoing globally, electrification is one of them, where the relevance for our technology and products is, of course, strongly related to silicon carbide, which is the material that will replace silicon to be able to use higher voltages in electrical cars and so on. So that you can actually charge faster and also reduce the loss of electricity in the overall car and how it utilizes it. So that is one part and one trend. Another trend is for sure the digitalization, which requires, it's everything related to also data communication. There we have a lot of components and many customers are involved in the semiconductor laser industry, so optics and photonic type of components that you need in data communication systems. And then you have other trends such as AI. AI will not work without a lot of data. And the data collection needs to be automated. So you need various type of sensors that collects data automatically. And then that feeds into the AI application, which then utilizes the data to predict things and so on. And that's for sure something where we have many customers in that field as well. Who are producers of various type of, it's called MEMS components normally, these type of sensors. So Infineon is one of them, ST Microelectronics is also a producer of that. We have another trend which is, let's say, more demographic related, which is then connecting into the population development, healthcare costs, and so on. How can we handle that moving forward? Well, one of the approaches, of course, to develop the new methods to detect and predict and diagnose various kind of diseases and healthcare situations much earlier, because we know the earlier we can capture it and diagnose it, the more likely it is that we can reduce the costs also for the treatment, because the healthcare costs is something which is a big challenge simply globally. And the semiconductor type of production technology is migrating step by step into the medical and biomedical field. And that will enable the further advancement of these diagnostic technologies and so forth.
I guess the big picture is pretty clear where the market is going. There are clear growth drivers, but obviously that also brings in competition, and there's many players in your field. So if we think of Obducat competitively, what are your advantages and maybe disadvantages in the market?
Well, Obducat is, of course, in the context of some of our competitors, we are a smaller player. And there is basically two sides of that coin. One is, of course, that we have the benefit of being more flexible. We have a product and technology platform which is more adaptable. So we sell more customized solutions compared to some of our larger competitors. Of course, the backside of that is we have smaller resources. The bigger projects, the really big customers, big installations is, of course, a challenge for us. We have, on the other hand, taken the actions to start building collaborations with also local, because one of the big parts in this is to have local service support that are able to make sure that the uptime of the tools and the machines that we sell is as high as possible. Because that is the key point for the semiconductor manufacturers to be able to be profitable. So what we do is we collaborate with various partners in different markets to make sure that we have strong local service support. And this is something that we have started to do. We will continue to do that because that is one of the key points to be able to bring on and take on these larger facilities. We have those type of installations and those customers in Europe, because here we have our own support, but we are also step by step moving to build that up in the US as well as in various countries in Asia to make sure that we can develop along that path simply. Then I think that one key point for Obducat is also to be able to, even though that we expect growth, we need to find a way to maintain this flexibility from a strategic point of view, because that's what makes us unique. And that's also something which, if you look at the overall development in the industry and the type of process needs that we foresee in the future, it is important to be able to adapt, because we will see much more customer-specific process solutions in the future, especially for all the side components that will be needed to drive AI and optics and photonics and so forth.
Right. Being a smaller company, obviously you need to be very strict on resource allocation. What are you doing and what are you not doing? So if we think of prioritization, of course you mentioned local service as one of the things, but have you picked certain verticals? What kind of decisions have you made in terms of strategy?
Yeah, if we look at our product portfolio and where it has relevance, there is a specific number of application areas, we call it, which would be the same as verticals. One area is the optics and photonics that I've mentioned, which is a lot of semiconductor lasers, data communication, but it's also optical things like AR, the augmented reality technology that is coming. It's also, let's say, new technology, which is called meta lens technology, which is to replace the thick, basically the thick glass lens you have on your mobile phone, so that it becomes much thinner. That's also in that field, the optics and photonics. Another vertical is LEDs and displays. And especially we are focusing then on what is called micro LED displays. And those are the sort of things that we expect we will see maybe in the Apple Watch and so on soon. But what they need, because there you are taking away the traditional type of display, and then you basically build the entire display up by very, very small LEDs. And the light emission from those LEDs, you have a red, green, blue that creates 1 pixel, and then you need to control the light emission, because the light is spread normally all over, which would get you would not get a high quality image. Then you need these meta lens structures or optical structures on top of it. So again, it's the same thing, but it's a different vertical that we do to some extent for optics and photonics. Then we have another field, which is the MEMS and sensor technologies, which is very strongly related to AI, but also autonomous vehicles and so on. A lot of the sensors that are being produced with our technologies going into the automotive industry. Then we have another sector, which is the biomedical that I mentioned before, which is then strongly related to diagnostic sensors and systems, and also drug delivery technology. And the last bit is what we call high power, high frequency, which is related to silicon carbide, again, not only to automotive sector, but currently that's driving. And then the high frequency is so-called GaN on silicon technology, which is then very much related to defense applications.
Right. If we think of the challenges ahead when implementing your strategy, one of the things you mentioned was maintaining flexibility even going forward. What other kind of risks or challenges are ahead and things that you need to manage to be successful?
Well, I mean, if we look at the overall growth scenario for the entire semiconductor industry, it is from today, it is expected to double, more than double in turnover until 2032. So that's extreme growth. Some of the verticals that we are involved with will see a growth which is even bigger. Because if you imagine that if you have $1,000 of the value of a silicon type of components in a normal petrol car, you have maybe a value of $10,000 in an electrical vehicle. So there is the growth rate, provided that you sell roughly the same amount of cars, but at the same time, let's say the integration and the adaptation of electrical cars will increase. Of course, the overall need for semiconductors, let's say components, will increase. So we will see even stronger growth in some of these application areas than the overall industry. Of course, one thing which Obducat cannot control is, of course, the growth scenario. Will there be something that happens in the world that will actually significantly change this expectation? These are the risks. So how we manage those type of risks is, of course, that we take the growth steps in stepwise, and we grow with existing customers, and we also try to target the customers that we see where we have a very high relevance with our product and technology offers.
Right. So key is to avoid spreading yourself too thin, to try to chase after all the opportunities in the market. Yeah. Finally, in the end, how does all this translate to value creation for the current and future owners of Obducat? What is your approach to value creation?
Well, I mean, the value creation, fundamentally, we are talking about turning over to profitability, because there, of course, Obducat has invested a significant amount of capital over the years in developing our technologies and also to create our current market position. Some of our technologies are more mature and are sort of in a much broader industrial use already. Some of our product portfolio is on the verge of taking that leap now, especially then the nano-imprint lithography, where we will take further steps into become a more mainstream manufacturing method for certain application areas, where it has not been historically. So that is, of course, the key point for us is to continue that growth, but do it stepwise, follow the existing customers, and also make sure that we do our investments and targets the strategic parts that is of importance to reach the performance that is needed in the verticals where we are focusing. Beyond that, we of course also are looking to also create the strategic value in being able to offer the sustainable type of process solutions, so that there is an underlying target to also bring out new process solutions into the industry, which has a more environmentally sound profile compared to what's currently being used. And this is something which will create the need to adapt also the machines, but also to develop the process technology. So that is what we see will be the growth drivers moving forward that will continue to take us to continuous growth, but also do that with while maintaining profitability.
Right. So in the short term, profitability turnaround, and after that, profitable growth.
Yeah.
Basically the
Yes.
plan forward.
Correct.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Patrik, for this conversation.
Thank you.